Let's add these two rational expressions. Now notice they have the same denominator, so I can just write a big fraction bar and write that denominator. Now I'm going to add the top. So I'm going to take this top plus this top here. Combine those numerators. So you know what? I'll put them in parentheses here. Probably something you don't have to do, but I'll do it just to show for sure what I'm doing. I'm taking that left numerator, adding it to the right numerator, and that's 5. All right, so now I'm going to get rid of those parentheses, so I'll get 5x minus 8 plus 4x minus 5 over x minus 6. Now, 5x and 4x is 9x. Negative 8 minus 5 is negative 13. So how about 9x minus 13 over x minus 6? And nothing's going to factor here. So I think we've got it. So this is a simplified form of this. And you can imagine if this was a set of computing instructions, right, here's a set of computing instructions. This one over here is much more efficient. Let's add these two expressions. I've got this one here and this one here. Now notice the denominators are identical, so I can just write a big fraction bar, write that denominator, w squared minus 9w plus 18, and I'll add the tops together. Now let's just do this. Take this top, add it to this top. So what do we get here? 7w minus 6w is w, and then negative 13 plus 7 is negative 6. Okay, now let's see if we can reduce it. So you wonder, is this one going to factor? So let's try it. We'll get w minus 6 over, right, our two parentheses. Now how about for w squared, w and w. Now here's what I'm going to try. I'm hoping it factors and then cancels. So how can you get an 18? 18 and 1, 9 and 2, 6 and 3. Because I have a 6 up here, I'm going to try the 6 and the 3. So try the 6 and the 3, and sure enough, 6 and 3 is a good choice, because 6 and 3, I can get a 9 out of. The 18 is positive. The 6 and the 3 will have the same sign, which is going to be that middle minus sign. There we go. And now, as long as w is not equal to 6, we can cancel these, or divide them out if you like, and we will be left with 1 over w minus 3, and this works as long as w is not equal to 6. So can we find the least common denominator? It doesn't say we have to add them, it just says find the least common denominator. So I've got this denominator here, this denominator here, they're different. Let's factor them, all right? So let's factor this leftmost one. So how about if we use x and x? Now, what are the factors of 18? What two numbers can you multiply together to give 18? And if you add and subtract, you get a 7. I'm thinking a 9 and a 2. So I'm going to go with a 9 and a 2. And the 18 is negative, so these numbers have opposite signs. I'm going to put that negative sign with the bigger product. The way I wrote it, 9x is bigger than 2x. I'll put the negative here. So I will have x minus 9, x plus 2. And then this denominator over here, how about it's going to be x and x. Now look, here's how these things are written. We're going to have maybe, I got 2 factors already. I'm not going to have 4 different factors, maybe at the most 3. So I'm going to use a 16. At 16, I'm going to have one of these. One of these is going to match. I know how these things are written. So one of these is going to be a 2. So if I put in a 2, the other one's going to have to be an 8. All right, and then does it work? 2 and 8. I can get a 6 out of that if I subtract. So the 16 is negative, so these have opposite signs. I'm going to put that middle negative sign with the bigger product, and I know what it's going to be, right? It's going to be plus 2. So I know how to do this. I'm just going to write that. So it's going to be plus 2 minus 8, and that minus sign goes with the bigger product, right? Negative 8x, 2x. All right, so pick out each factor that appears. I've got this one. I've got this one. Now that one appears twice. This x plus 2 appears here and here, but it's the highest power It's just a 1. All right, and then I've got this one. So here's the LCD. The LCD is x minus 9, x plus 2, and x minus 8. Just multiply those, indicate that multiplication. Let's subtract these two rational expressions. So let's get the LCD. The LCD is going to be, I've got a c minus 3 and a c minus 7, right? So that's going to be our LCD. Now here's how I'm going to write this. I'm just going to write it as something over the LCD. Now, the way I do these is I look at the first one, compare the original LCD, the original denominator, to the new one. What's missing? If I compare this, the original, to the new, what's missing is c minus 7. So I'm going to multiply top by c minus 7. So I will get a 7 times c minus 7, and then minus, right? That minus sign is right here. Now, what about the 5? Do I have to do anything to the 5? Well, look, compare the denominators. The original denominator is c minus 7 compared to the new one. There's the c minus 7. What's missing is c minus 3. So it looks like we've adjusted the original by multiplying it by c minus 3. So adjust the top by multiplying it by c minus 3. Okay, there we go. Now we just need to simplify it out. So distribute. I'll get 7c minus 49, and then minus 5c plus 15 all over the LCD. Now, 7c minus 5c is 2c. Negative 49 plus 15 is minus 34. Now, okay, I'm just going to write the LCD because I can still factor a little bit, right? 2c minus 34, I can take a 2 out of. So I'm going to rewrite this as 2 times c minus 17 over the LCD. Now, I'm done, so I'm going to write the LCD. C minus 3, C minus 7. Now, I suppose you could leave it like this. You could leave it like this, but it's not really simplified because I can factor that denominator, factor that numerator.